What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is why was this plane invulnerable? The SR-71 Blackbird story. Are you ready for this one?
Yeah, it should be interesting.
It's been a few days since we've done like a kind of a military plane or aircraft, should be the word, I believe.
Yeah.
SR-71 Blackbird, it does ring a bell, and I think it's, do you remember when we had the story about the pilot who was going through, and then he was asking about the speed checks on the comms, who were going absolutely rapid. I think it was that plane.
Okay.
I may be wrong. I may be completely off of that, but SR-71 Blackbird rings a bell.
Yeah.
Smash that button if you enjoy the content, guys. Smash that subscribe button as well. Let's see why this plane was invulnerable. No clue why.
No idea.
I'm sure it is an absolute beast. And yeah, what is the like goal for today?
1,700.
1,700 likes. Smash that like button, guys. We'd seriously appreciate it. And let's get straight into why was this plane invulnerable? I don't know. You tell us what we got.
Thanks to Squarespace for making this video possible and for helping launch my new mustard store. More on that after this video. In the midst of the Cold War, two MiG-25s raced to intercept the threat along the Soviet border. They're the fastest interceptors ever built, and if they really push their engines, they can reach an incredible Mach 3.2. But it's not enough, because what they're chasing can outrun and outclimb any threat, a plane engineered to be invulnerable.
You'd like the sound of that if you were flying a plane.
The Cold War locked the United States and Soviet Union into a tense struggle for global influence and control. Both sides poured enormous resources into military technologies, but getting an upper hand means knowing your opponent's next move. And in the 1950s, little was known about facilities deep within the Soviet Union. An extensive network of radar stations, surface-to-air missile sites, and interceptor air bases kept the Americans away. Until 1956, when U-2 spy planes began flying over the Soviet Union. Neither fast nor stealthy, U-2s had one critical advantage. At 70,000 feet, they could fly above Soviet air defenses.
Smart.
U.S. President Eisenhower was even assured Soviet radars couldn't detect the U-2 at such high altitudes. But it turns out the Americans were wrong. The Soviets had tracked the U-2 since day one, and it was only a matter of time before they'd be able to shoot one down. Simply flying high wasn't enough. Even before the U-2 began its surveillance missions.
So they knew they were there, they just couldn't shoot them down.
Right, okay.
Got you, but that's what I got from that. And the United States assumed they just couldn't see them at all, which is why they weren't shooting down. Okay, that does make sense. You can see it up in sky, come down low enough, we want to shoot you. But that must be pretty annoying if you were Russian, like just knowing it's there but not being able to do anything. Let us know in the comments, but I'm guessing defenders, if that plane went over at that height now, defenders could deal with it in Russia or in anywhere in the world, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Because you'd think,
nowadays.
I know, because this was probably what, Cold War was 70s, 80s?
Yeah,
so technology's advanced.
It is. No, I reckon they could.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments, because obviously now it's more just about being completely undetectable, isn't it?
There were already plans underway to replace it, because true impunity over Soviet airspace would need a combination of incredible speed, altitude, and stealth. And this led the Americans to explore some pretty radical spy plane concepts, like a ramjet-powered aircraft that would be deployed from the bottom of a supersonic B-58.
Wow.
But in 1959, the CIA chose Lockheed to develop the next generation of spy plane. Meanwhile, the U-2 continued to fly over the
names. It was Fish, and the one next to it, Kingfish, because it was the one what dropped it. Like, what a beast.
Soviet Union, but not for very long. Because in the spring of 1960, a Soviet surface-to-air missile finally managed to bring one down. The captured pilot and wreckage were paraded around the Soviet Union, used as proof of Western aggression. As tensions rose, now more than ever, the U.S. needed a replacement for the U-2.
Suspense.
And what Lockheed developed would be unlike any aircraft ever built. A plane that nearly 60 years after its first flight remains the fastest air-breathing jet to ever fly. Lockheed's highly classified spy plane would be known as the A-12. Originally used by the CIA for reconnaissance, the A-12 was also developed into an interceptor prototype, armed with air-to-air missiles. along with a variant that could launch an unmanned reconnaissance drone. But it was the SR-71 Blackbird, a variant developed for the Air Force that would go on to serve for decades, while earlier versions were quickly retired. The Blackbird could cruise at Mach 3.2, right near the edge of space, and do it for hours on end. To achieve this, Lockheed's engineers had to innovate pretty much everything from scratch. To sustain such incredible speeds, the SR-71 and its predecessors were powered by engines often described as turbo ramjets.
Oh.
Below Mach 2, they functioned like conventional...
Sounds pretty badass to it. It's an absolute beast. 60 years this plane's been used for, though. That's when you know you designed a good plane. 6 years later, still been used, like, fair play.
Yeah.
You've got to give it some credit.
Afterburning jet engines. But above that, they behaved more like ramjets, as an inlet cone adjusted to bypass air around the engine and directly into the afterburner. At Mach 3.2, the SR-71's exterior would heat up to beyond 500 degrees Fahrenheit,
Looks so
easily
nice.
hot enough to
does
soften
look good.
aircraft aluminum. The Lockheed engineers used titanium for 92% of the aircraft. And in the 1960s, this required inventing entirely new fabrication technologies. Its unusual shape did more than just spook UFO enthusiasts. It helped reduce its radar signature, as did its special black paint, which earned the SR-71 its Blackbird name.
I get it now.
Makes sense.
The A-12 and SR-71 were first deployed over North Korea and Vietnam, where they were unsuccessfully targeted by over 800 surface-to-air missiles.
Wow.
But the spy plane never flew into Soviet airspace, at least not officially, because another shoot-down over the Soviet Union would be catastrophic. So instead, the SR-71 flew along its borders, using its powerful side-looking radars and cameras to peer hundreds of miles into Soviet territory. And that frustrated the Soviets. In 1976, Viktor Belenko defected to the West by escaping the Soviet Union in his MiG-25. He described the frustration of trying to intercept Blackbirds. The MiGs were Mach 3 capable, but only for a few minutes at a time, not for hours like the Blackbird. Nor could they climb to reach the SR-71's incredible altitude.
No chance.
Even their
Mm-hmm.
enormous R-40 missiles lacked the guidance needed to strike the SR-71 head-on. For years, the Blackbirds were practically invulnerable. They could outfly and outclimb any threat. But by the 1980s, MiG-31s were roaming the skies. Equipped with sophisticated radar and long-range R-33 missiles, they posed a legitimate threat, as did a new generation of Soviet surface-to-air missiles. But the greatest threat to the Blackbird wasn't an enemy missile or jet, it was itself. No Blackbird was ever lost on a mission, but more than a third of the 50 built were destroyed in accidents. One literally disintegrated around its pilots.
Oh, damn.
They were also
Jeez.
enormously...
I was thinking this whole time, invulnerable, not being detected, not being able to be intercepted. Great plane. It disintegrated. Yeah, maybe I'll think twice about flying one of them, just in case, because
Yeah.
it might give up on me.
It looks nice.
It does look nice. It seems like a badass, but I think you need to solve the problems with, it kind of blowing up itself.
Yeah, I think so.
It's a bit of an issue, isn't it?
Tiny bit.
expensive to operate, each one siphoning about $300 million a year out of America's defense budget. A fleet of special aerial refuelers and a small army of support and maintenance staff were needed just to keep these planes mission ready. And advances in spy satellites, aerial drones, and the SR-71's inability to deliver surveillance data in real time diminished some of the plane's utility. Add to that politics and infighting for defense budgets, and by the late 1980s, the SR-71's days were numbered. They were officially retired in 1998, with 2 sent to NASA for testing.
Oh, wow.
The technology behind the A-12 and SR-71 is now well over 50 years old. Yet somehow these incredible planes still speak to us.
But it's well over 50 years old. But he did say earlier it's still been used 60 years later.
Yeah.
So maybe this is what he's going to go into.
Yeah.
But a little bit confusing. 6 years, and then he says it's retired. But still, it's still badass.
Yeah.
That is the issue with technology, though. It's always advancing. So no matter
Yeah.
what is amazing at the time, it's going to be surpassed, isn't it? It's got to be.
Not about the past, but the future, leaving us with a sense of wonder, unlike any other in aviation history. A few months ago, I launched my mustard site with Squarespace.
If you guys want to go and check that link out, the link will be in
Yeah.
the description to this video if you want to go and check the sponsorship out. We always suggest that, but what should we do before we go? Smash the like button? Yeah. We know. I always say at the start, and you're like, I've already watched to the end. Smash the like button, guys. Smash that subscribe button. Would seriously appreciate it. Anything else to add?
Have a fantastic day.
And we'll see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.